Hello guys, welcome back to today's class of Career Advice. So before we start, just an announcement that any of you guys have queries about how to learn SAP free of cost. If not SAP ISU, if you are interested into other modules of SAP, then in our previous video I have already explained it, how you can access it free of cost and how you can practice it in the server as well. So do check out. Here is the link here, and you can also find the description section. So do check out that. And in our today's class, we are going to discuss about what we have left from the previous class, that the clearing of documents, document types, and FICA clearing controls, how to set up the rules, etc. Also, we will be talking about FICA account balance display, how it is related to the document structure, FICA clearing control, etc. And do remember, today's class is very important from SAP ISU FICA perspective, because it's this clearing document, its control, its rules are very important for a FICA consultant. So do watch out till the end without skipping, and if you like, do subscribe, share and comment us. Let's start the class. Thank you.
Yeah, we are discussing about the documents, and we already understand how to allocate the documents and the number ranges. And when we discuss about how to allocate this individual documents number ranges. But if there are parallel runs for multiple documents in one go, in that case, we need to allocate multiple number ranges to the mass processing. And that's how the example is given here. The number ranges is divided into F1, F2, F3, and for F1, F2, F3, there are different segments of numbers, and they are allocated for the invoicing document. Now, from the invoicing document, when it comes to the FICA document, which holds all the open items, those open items are reflected here. Now, how those open items need to be reflected and how it will be useful for us, that is the real objective, okay, of the document display. Now you can see the open items. We can see here there are headers, there are business items, and it is going to a table called DFKK OP. And when it will go to the general ledger item, it will come to DFKK OPK. That means when the item is open, it is in a separate table. When it is posted, it is in a separate table. And all these details need to be put into a simplistic way. Okay, so you have invoicing document which is open DFKKO. Now it is open item and come to the FICA side DFKKOP. Okay, then we have general ledger items which is called DFKKOPK, posting item. Now there are three tables and everything is explained here detail. But if you consider it's for a single data, if there is a huge amount of data, how we can do? We can use the simple manual process to put the business partner from to, and we'll get all the information in one go. Okay. And that link to our next stuff, which is called clearing document. Now, first we understand how the data will come to the open table. Now, open table is there. Now, open items are there. Now the collection happen. When the collection will happen, then based on the clearing rules, it will get cleared. Okay. So once it will started clearing, so the clearing document get created. So there are open documents and there would be clearing documents. Now for clearing documents also, we need to allocate the number ranges. But the point is, how we can understand which is clear, which is not clear, how we'll see that, okay? And is there any process between the open items and the clearing document? Yes, that is a process. That is called reconciliation process. Now for reconciliation process, we are mostly using the reconciliation key. Now, when we are creating the invoices, you can observe that we are creating a reconciliation key as well. So during the invoice creation, we are giving a reconciliation key. Now that reconciliation key actually holding all the open items. Okay, when the clearing happen, okay, the clearing happen, it will clear individual items against the collected amount. Okay, let's consider somebody is paid less or somebody is paid more or some line items should not be cleared. In that case, where those line items should be hold. So for that, we have reconciliation key. So reconciliation key actually connection between the posting document and the clearing document. Okay, so in between that, we have again a process, a reconciliation key. So this reconciliation key, you can, like, there are roles to create the reconciliation key. It can be created automatically, or you can give manually any reconciliation key. But you can see the definition of the reconciliation key. It represents the connection between the total record of the contract account receivable and payable and the transfer document that go to the general ledger. Right. So let's consider you have some document, FICA documents, and open items are there. And all these open items hold under a key, the reconciliation key. That means it is still in a in-between process or in a staging table, which is not posted under the general ledgers. Okay. So now if the posting is not happen for any of the document, what will happen? It will be still in that reconciliation key. Okay. Now why it is required? Because when we collect the money, it will clear each of the reconciliation key open items with the amounts. And once it will get clear, it will go to the posting ledger. Okay. Sorry, go to the ledger as a clearing document. So what is the uses of the reconciliation? It is explained in detail here. The report FKKOP10, which is a reconciled contract account, that particular with the general ledger of finance. Sorry. Okay. So I'm just trying to explain the reconciliation key role. So the it reconcile the current balance for all the reconciliation account or the reconciliation account specified as well as on sales and purchase of tax clearance accounts. Now here there are two more items, sales and purchase tax clearance accounts. That means let it be if something you sell from the SD perspective, if you product sell, then you need to collect some money. Similarly, as in the utility industry, we are selling the energy and we need to get some money. And once we are getting the money, we need to check whether whatever we are collecting that is correct or not. To check that, we need to hold the data or the item somewhere, and that staging table is reconciliation. It reconciles both the collection and the open items. Okay, and it determines the company code, the business area, all these details, whatever the link to the GL, it also determines those information. Okay, so that's how it is working to balance out between the current open item in a contract account receivable payable, the tax and the sales purchase clearance, the down payment, and the statistical item. Now here there is another term, the statistical item, but it means if there is any items, open items there into the reconciliation key, which is statistical in nature, it will not allow to post that amount or not allowed to clear that amount against the collection. Okay, last time we discussed about the statistical items. So when we do the simulation of invoice or we do a simulation which is very accurate to the real process, it creates statistical items. Now those statistical items also need not to be filtered out, or they need not to post into the general ledger as a clearing item. That's how the reconciliation key also remove those statistical items. The reconciliation means whatever the account of the contract account receivable and payable in between the general ledger, it reconcile. Reconcile means it check one after another. Then balance reconcile key in a contract account receivable and payable that have not yet been transferred. Okay. Now, if there is any amount which is still pending, which is not yet clear, and there are some open items. So when we see the display, it also balance out that. Balance out means it is still give a detailed output that some amount is still there to be cleared against some open item. So your balance statement will be understood like somebody already paid, but let it be that payment is not yet come to your account, but it is still paid in some other bank account or somewhere, right? So those things need to be balanced out through reconciliation key. And finally, the adjustment of the total records need to be done through the reconciliation. How? Because from the reconciliation, we recognize on which day, from which cash decks, how much money or how much money need to be collected based on the open items. So the open items clearing document, everything is adjusted against that reconciliation key recognition. So now there is a report called FKK OP 110. If any item is missing, okay, so then you can generate that report and you can reconcile everything. Okay. Now, if one reconciliation key is not closed, as I mentioned, there are a lot of open items in a reconciliation key. Now, if the reconciliation key is not closed, how to close? So we have a path, document, and reconciliation key, and there is a close configuration. You can go there and close that. Otherwise, you can go to the administration segment and close. Okay. So forcefully, we are closing the reconciliation key under finance. Okay, so let me see if I can show you document. Sorry.
So why we are closing reconciliation key?
Let it be for a longer time. Some reconciliation key is already open. All right. So in that case, we need to forcefully close that. We'll come to the next slide where you can understand why this is required. Okay.
Okay.
So I can see the reconciliation recurring entry. Okay, it should be under utility document. Financial move. I can't see the document here, probably. FICA, finance. I can see the document closing here. Document number range, define posting key. Let's see, tolerance group is okay. Anyway, so whatever the path it is showing, even if I am not getting, it's saying that the administration reconciliation key is there. This was I got from the note of reconciliation from SAP, but it's saying SAP menu document reconciliation key. Let's see directly SAP menu. Then it is task for you. You need to search and let me know if you find this. So here the menu is saying document reconciliation key and close. And the administration is SAP FICA reconciliation key. Okay. Now let's go to, this is for closing of the reconciliation key. And okay. Now, when we create the open items, what would be the, what are the line items it can create going forward? Okay. So we created the open items, then we are collecting the money to clear them, but we don't know what will happen to that amount. Okay. So it may happen that whatever the open items, it may be a statistical charges or charges receivable. Okay, either that is charges receivable means against the open items, we are getting some money. Clearing statistical charges. Okay, so if it is statistical, we'll not do posting. Remove this, it will be as it is. It may happen that there will be some discount, okay, cash discount or some revenue discount on top of that open item. Okay, or some tax after the cash discounts. Okay. Or it may happen that some of the line items may write off, like because of some policy or something, it need to be reimbursed. Or there may be some minor difference of write-off, like 0.01, 0.02. So minor difference. So for minor difference, we need to write off that, or we'll put a tolerance like that. Okay. Then exchange rate difference foreign currencies. Like if somebody is paying from outside, then we need to manage and do all these exchange rate calculation and then do the clearance. And finally, the down payment. Okay. So once everything is done, the down payment is cleared. Then the clearing document is linked to the posting document, right? So these operations are happen during the clearing process. Okay, and once the clearing process happen, we know from our previous description or discussions that there are 4 kind of ledgers. Okay, general ledger, fund management, special ledger, and profitable analysis ledgers. So it will go to those sub ledger to the summary record, and it will get posted on into the ERP systems ledgers. Okay. Now the point is how it gets cleared. Is there any rules? Is there any logic behind that? Yes, there are settlement logics. So this against the open items when we are clearing, that process is called settlement process. And there are certain rules for the settlement process. We call them clearing rules. Or some cases, we provide the priorities which open item need to be cleared first. That we call the payment allocations or the prioritization. Okay. Now, the settlement logic or clearing rule mainly are applied when the payment amount is less. Okay, let it be there is an invoice of 100 rupees, there is a payment of 100 rupees, everything is clear. So no need to apply any rules. But if there is amount is less, then we will apply the settlement rule. In case of partial payment based on the priority of the items which are defined settlement business logic, some items are given priority for clearing over other items. So that means the priority is coming. Okay, that means the payment allocation is coming. So FIC clearing control is a tool for configuring the company clearing strategy. And it is like for each company, it's different. Now, again, the clearing is of two types, automatic clearing or manual clearing. And for both these things, we need to configure. For automatic clearing proposal, we need to configure. For manual clearing, we need to call and we need to clear them. Now, to apply these logics, we need to first splitting up the clearing algorithm into steps, okay? And then we'll link each of the rules, okay? So this is line item 1, we need to clear first. So that is a priority. Okay, and that is how we put the clearing control. Okay, and based on the different scenarios, we understand which clearing configuration need to be flexible. Let it be. There are two items, item A and item B. Item A has a open item of 10 rupees and item B is open item of 20 rupees and somebody paid 15 rupees. Okay, so then we understand the priorities of item A is high, 10 rupees need to be cleared. And next is B, 5 rupees from 20 need to be cleared. Now, the question arises, in some cases, there would be some conditions like off-trial, one of the condition. Off-trial means that's a very common charges on top of the energy transmission. So the off-trial charges, let it be considered as paid in one go. That means if there is a off-trial of 20 rupees, it will not take 5 rupees at the partial payment. So all this control we do at the configuration level of the clearing based on the scenario, and we do the flexibility. Now, how the clearing control actually seen if we put into a diagram. Okay, so you can see we have open items from DSKK OP table, and we are coming collection or payment is coming. Now payment is coming and it is coming. Then based on the clearing type, which is actually the priority, and the clearing category, which again defining which line item need to be cleared first. So we'll clear one after another in different steps. Okay. Yes. So the amount which need to be settled is called the due item. And that due item is linked to a date which we call the due date for clearing. Okay. So now if the due is paid before the date, everything is well and good. Or on date, everything is well and good. If there is a payment not happen within the due date, then again, there will be different conditions arises. Now this due date is linked to your clearing type. Clearing types which we define at the contract account level, and it also linked to the clearing category. Okay. So like you can see there are 4 line items here: clearing type, grouping, and clearing category, and clearing exact amount, how much it need to be cleared. So they give in one example where the payment item is 600 and the contract account is having 500, 600, 1000. There are 3 entries here. And as I mentioned, there are prioritization is happening. So we have 3 dates, 1, 2, 3, 3 dates of that year. And the contract account holds all these entries. All these entries means whatever need to be clear, what is the due amount and how much payment is done. And based on that, everything is calculated, right? And it is showing that the amount on which date it is coming, that is 14th of March. Okay. And it will adjust it under the contract account. So to determine all this stuff, we need all these entries. Now the question arises, if the payment is not happen what we are expecting. Okay. Now everything is well and good. till that everything is good. But if it is not happened, so that's how this, in this example, it is explained in detail. The contract account contains open receivable and credit that we have posted with the reference to a certain division. Now, in account maintenance, the system has to clear items for the same division against each other, taking into the consideration the due date. Now, in a collective bill, in a joint invoice, or where there are multiple divisions, so for a certain division, the clearing will be done first, based on the due date of clearance. Okay, so here they mention that 1st of January, there are two items, 1st of January. The first, this division amounts need to be cleared. Okay, but you can see there is another 01 is there, which is 600. Okay, having the same division, but the date is higher. So whichever is having early into the system with the same division, that get more priority and it will get cleared. Okay, so it is saying, explaining the same thing, the item amounting to 500 with the due date 1st of January 2003 and division 01 qualifies as the item with the highest that has been cleared against the credit of 300 and division of 01. In order to do this, the item is split into sub items 300, which is cleared by the credit, and sub items of 200, which remains. Okay. So whatever the priorities based on these due dates and the divisions, based on that, it is get cleared. Any questions still now? Then we'll move for the configuration. No?
No.
Okay. All right, so we'll do the configuration of the display and the because based on the display, you will see all the information like posting date, due date, contract account, clearing document in a simple screen. Okay, so there are P codes here, FP06, account maintenance, FP07, clearing reset. These are for the operations. For mass reversal, FE08M, for FPMA, automatic clearing. Okay. Let's see the configuration. Let's request for the configuration. Open item management. So first, let's go to contract account basic function, open item management. Now, what is open item management? How we need to display on the screen. That is how the open item management we need to do. See here, you have open item management. So below open item management, we have defined the line layout variant open item processing. Now, based on your company code, you can allocate, like here university standard, they are allocated something. So like that, you can allocate something for your line item. Okay. So let it be put any rule which would link to that open items if that is to your company code. So I'll put ORT for ORT company code, ORT. I'm just checking whether it is configured or not. Yeah, ORT1 is coming. Similarly, specify the selection criteria. Like we are putting selection criteria with the business partner. All those details are need to become in our entries or not. Okay. So it's like based on your requirement. So here it is mentioned the document number should come. Check the number and payment order, document order are there. But most of the time you can see the business partner should be there. Okay, I'm just putting the business partner for the sake of the configuration. Okay, or else you can put the account, the V contract account, or the contract. Okay, whatever you want to display, it select that. Now, what would be the default one? So default here, it is saying the general document should be the default one with clearing region 0. Now, here all these three things we need to again define. Clearing regions which are standardized as per the SAP, some of them. And if you are not happy with the standard clearing documents, you can configure the clearing regions as well. Here you can see 01 incoming payment, 02 outgoing payment, 03 transfer items, all the stuff. And 08 is account maintenance. That means under which everything will come. Right. So based on your requirement, you can put the region and document type. Document type, whatever the document number you are allocated, based on that, you need to allocate the document here. So for the general document, it is mentioned AB. Like if you need to allocate invoicing document or clearing bill, so you can allocate any of them. So that would be the default. But when you change the document number at the display, it will show you the other details as well. Okay. Now to display all these documents, do you know what is the T code for that? That is FPL9. Okay. So I'm not going each of them because you can go to FPL9 and see what are the more details you need in the FPL9, and based on that you can allocate here open items management. But we are going to a clearing part. So clearing, you can see a default value automatic clearing, and then we have clearing control. These two major stuff we need to configure. So for automatic clearance, you can see there will not be major changes. You can see there will not be any blocking region. It should get cleared automatically. So you are not putting any kind of stuff. Or 15 is the first automatic clearance. So you put that if the amount is matching, it should get cleared automatically. So 15 is allocated there. Resetting of the clearance. So 11 is for resetting. If somebody is resetting whatever the cleared amount is there, they are cleaning that up. So it again, it should be put some region. So that's how 11 is there. So all these details are there. Now let's go to the control. So when I'm explaining, when the document get posted, it will create multiple information. And one of the information about the tolerance. If the amount is, let it be less than 0.1 paisa, should the clearance done? Or if it is not accurate, should the amount get cleared? Okay. Now all these rules you need to apply somewhere, and for that you need to allocate some tolerance group. So let's see, to allocate a tolerance group, you can create a group. I'm creating a group as ORT1, text ORT tolerance group. Now, which currency you are using? Like I'm putting as INR, Indian currency. You need to define that. And for expense and revenue, what is the percentage of tolerance? I'm just putting 1. 1 rupees, 1 rupees is something less than 1 rupees or more than 1 rupees, it will allow to clear. Okay. So similarly, when I'm putting some tolerance, I can put some restrictions as well. So clearing restrictions. Oh, more restrictions. Okay, I'll put some restrictions there. I'll put some, can put something like ORT restriction. And there are a lot of rules you can see, which is default is there. So you can choose any of them, okay, for restriction. Otherwise, you can create your own. So I'm just putting a 0 document restriction, or we can create our own search. So these are the standard clearing restrictions which we can use. Okay. So I'm just putting one restriction or 0. So, okay. So during the process dynamically also you can change the restrictions. Then you know the clearing tolerance, you know the restrictions. Now, what are the rules of settlement? How we can settle the clearing document? So for that, we need to define the categories. So you can see define the clearing category, define the clearing type, and specify the category clearing types. Okay, now when we are thinking about a payment, it may be incoming payment or collective payment or ISU invoicing, all those details we need to define. So let's go to the creation of the variant, clearing variant. So again, this is just a feature. You need to allocate some company code and the characters. So here we need to define a company code. Now here this is a bit technical in nature, like as I mentioned for the ISU reconciliation. Similarly, you need to define a particular field. You can see the fields are defined here. You need to define a particular field, and that field, it's predefined actually, most of this clearing stuff. But if you want to enter something, new entry with your company code, you need to define your details. Like here, the company code, division, transaction, main transaction, sub transaction, everything is there. But you need to add a new field. So you can put all those details here. Okay, with the modules, in which module you need to add on. Otherwise, the existing clearing definition for due date, contract, or main sub transaction would be okay. You can use any of them. Okay. So from this, we'll move to the next, defining the amount check group. Again, check group is to validate the details. Here, you can see it's all in euro. You can add something like in rupees or the group. Okay. Text over the amount group. Now it's just for the difference, but not much impactful. But if somebody is paying in particular currency, okay, like, so in that case, the variance or the difference we can get from the amount groups. Clearing variance, again, it is also predefined. Clearing variance, you can add on, like here is account maintenance, incoming payment, loan, installment plan, collective bill, whatever you assign here, based on that, it will get clear. Like when the amount is coming, the system need to understand whether it's a account maintenance means direct payment is coming, or it's a settlement installment plan or a loan. So that's how there are different clearing variants. Okay. Any questions? You can add also new if you are not okay with this many variants. You can add more new variants. Okay. And then once you add the variant, you can go to the clearing steps. Okay, let's see one. So here you can see in clearing steps, as you know, there, like previously the variants, like before this, here we define the grouping and sorting features. So there we know what are the fields. Okay, here is the fields 0, 1, 2, 21. All these fields you need to remember if you need to allocate the steps for clearing rules. Let me take the first one. Internal company code. Okay, so here you can see internal company code. You can see there is a company code. It should have 001 and the short character. All the details should be there. Now here, again, you can see there is a clearing rule and right of tolerance. Now these things, like if you tick here, right of tolerance, that means it will use some amount for write-off, which we are not studied. If let it be some farmer is there and he has the invoice amount of 60,000 rupees because of some region, and he paid just 50,000 and government declare a write-off for the farmers. In that case, you put some condition to write off their 10,000 extra money from the system. Okay, and if 50,000 is coming less, whatever left 10,000 you'll get write off. Okay. Similarly, your amount rule is there. These are again predefined. Should you collect the money if there is overpayment or less payment, or you should not put any restrictions. Okay, so you can condition your clearing rules accordingly. If it is overpayment and you should not allow, it will stop, it will give a warning, pay what is the exact amount within the tolerance limit. Right. Similarly, clearing rules. Now, this is something like, again, some are predefined, some you can add. Now here, whether you will allow the partial payment, clearing alternatively, those stuff, whatever is mentioned here, you can do that. If it is not enough for you, you can add new rules. Otherwise, you go to with blank, that means there is no rule. Okay, now clearing categories. Clearing categories we are allocating at the contract account level. Clearing categories mostly link as we define to the variants. So for those variants, we allocate the clearing category and that will link to the contract account. Then once we created the clearing category, it's take you to the next clearing type. Okay. Now clearing type is how you are expecting the money should come. Okay, from the cash desk, from the manual posting, from the lot payment. Okay, so now most of the time, if the money is coming anyway, it is okay for us, but we just define how the money came into the system, and that's how we put the clearing type. Okay, and when the payment is happened through that process, we just allocate this number. Now the clearing type may be more or less depending on the business. Some business are only condition of direct debit or direct credit. In that case, there are very less number of clearing type. Okay. Some business have always do the mass posting, so that lot payment. Some business they collect parcel bill. So it's all about how the money come into the system. That's how. If you want to add something, you can add. Okay, you need to add the area. Let's R is the utility company. Clearing type, I'll put like this. There are phone pay or Google Pay. So I call internet payment. Only for incoming. I just save it. Choose key from the allowed namespace. I choose the key from allowed namespace only R. Okay. Okay, it's giving some warning. I don't know. I choose from the allowed namespace only. So now we added a new clearing type, which is INT, internet. Okay. Now, whatever the clearing type we define, we need to specify how this will operate, how this clearing type should be operate. So that's how we put some specification for the clearing type, or you can say definition for the clearing type. Okay. Now, whatever the clearing type amount will come, it should come for all of them. Okay. Now here they only allowed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They allowed posting manually. They allowed cash desk payment. They allowed cash payment by card. They allowed payment by check. They allowed electronic payment, which is they mentioned internet payment, and they allowed credit card. Like if your utility company allowed something more, which you think should be useful, so you can allow that as well. Okay. Now, how you allow that also need to be defined. So for that, check with each of the segment. Okay, so they overall they allowed, but if you want, you can put for each of the segment, you can put the details. Okay. Account maintenance or default account maintenance. Like as I mentioned, in some cases, there are some rules that only the utility company accept the direct debit or only cash. Automatic clearance should be or should not be there. So those things need to be allocated here. Similarly, what we studied about collective invoicing, you need to define that whether collective invoicing is allowed in your system or not. That is defined here. They define installation plan, repayment, collective, and the distribution payment summarized group are there. These groups will be useful when the payment will come into the system and they define this is the payment. Okay. And similarly, how these clearing open items should be cleared against what? So against invoice, against periodic bill, against final bill, against partial bill. You can add much more against security deposit or something. So like that, the clearing defined like that. Let's go to some theory again. So account balance display. So now we reach a step where almost the invoice done, the posting done. After posting, the reconciliation key role is over. Clearing is done, clearing document generated, and we need to see everything in the system. Now, if we see everything in the system, we are looking for many stuff. We are looking for the FICA information. We are looking for the summarized reconciliation information. We are looking for the FI document reference, which is linked to the clearing documents. Okay, so referral documents. Now, all these information we are looking with the reference to the posting document. Okay, but how to see that? How to see all this information? If we put everything like this is for the individual contract account summary in a finance, right? It's so complex to understand because you can't see the company code here, company code here, company code here. So there are repetitive informations as well. Apart from that, from those information, we identify the correctness of posting, the correctness of the reconciliation key, and whether the transfer is correctly done, whether all the open items are closed or not. Now, all this information, how we display? We display with a simple code that is called FPL9. So now when we are planning to display any information, we are planning two stuff. First thing, the query of the customer. What exactly the customer wants to see in the system, and what exactly we are looking to see into the system to understand all the details. So mostly 4 informations are necessary. One is document number, line item, open item, and closed item. Okay. So when we proceed with account display, we have 2 sections here. You can see the section where we put the information for input, business partner, contract account, contract and company code. Okay. Sometimes sub application or ledgers, sub applications. And the second stuff is customization part. Now this part we can't customize, this part we can customize. How to display the information. Okay, so input page we can't display, sorry, we can't change, but the other part we can change, which is customized part. Here you can see this is a very basic output of a document where you can see the information document type, the line item for the business partner. You can see the whole line items. The navigation details, the difference views of the data like receivable, down payment, total payment list, and chronology. And you can see all these description and the amounts. And finally, the major 2 stuff, document number and the clearing document number. Okay. And whether it's still open or closed from the status, we can understand. This is the basic one. Now, do you want to add something more here, or you need to remove something? That control will get from the account display. Okay. That means if we go to the configuration and if we go to the account balance display, here we need to define the details. Now, when we are displaying, again, there are 3-4 major rules come into picture. which kind of document you are displaying, whether it's a simple document, invoice document, whether it's a collective one, whether it's a joint invoicing one, whether it's for company, the whole company as such. So like based on that, we need to define the categories. So define the list or categories. Okay, so in the customization part, when we go, it will ask you all these details. You need to display all items, all open items, only cleared items, all these details. Okay, otherwise you can add your own new entries. Once you add your new entry, you need to define what exactly it means. Okay, so let me add something. List type is what list. Description, what the company list display. So what exactly you need to display here? Let me display open items, clearing items both. Okay. And if there is any down payment request, I need to see that as well, which is a statistical item in nature. If there is a installation plan against that document, I need to see that as well. Okay, that much. Now save it. Okay, it's not allowing me, but anyway, it gets saved. Okay, so that means I have a new list, ORT company list display, and it will allow me to show me 3-4 information which I am looking to see. One is installation plan, other is if there is any open items or any items in queue. Right. Now, once you define all these requirements you need to see, but what would be the variants, what exactly you are looking there? So in system, they have their own layouts, standard layouts. Here, you can use the configuration for your standard layout. Otherwise, you can customize it by adding the new line item types. Okay, or line layouts. Now be careful of this layout because this layout will definitely show you a predefined picture. Okay, so now here you can see there is a table and you are putting the fields, and the fields has the length and offset. That means whatever the length you pass here, that much amount display will become there. Like length is 412, you know all these length, right? So based on that, only the display will come. Like if you put 4, so it will not take any character more than that. So it will ORT 1, only that will display. Okay, similarly, currencies like that. So whenever you put this information, be careful, and based on the line items, you need to use based on the request. Okay. Maintain sorting variants. Now setting variants may be on vcount or BU dat, all these details. So you can put like instead of vcount, you can put anything else. Instead of posting all this posting field, you can put other informations. Okay, like if you want to clearing, you can do, but clearing is a risk that maybe there are some posting documents which are not linked, so you need to understand that as well. Okay, so now again there are a lot of stuff to explore for each, like budget billing, for collective billing. Each of them, the layout you can define through this account balance display. So now you can see the account balance display, whatever you need to define, you define, and you can display that. So mostly it will come with receivable, down payment, total payment list, and chronology. And what extra you need to add, you can add or remove based on the configuration. Okay, as it mentioned, you can do changes through IMG, whatever the line items or variants you need to add, subsequent variants, something if you want to add, and you define the line level. Okay. Now, if you want to totally change the screen or some information, so you need to understand the events. So what are the events there? And if you know the events, customize them. And even if you customize the icons, the color, and the keys, and for each of them, there are standard events, and you can call them and change them. So that's how once you put everything, you'll get the snapshot and you can proceed. Whatever the define you need to define under account balance display, I already shown into the system. You need to go through each of them. Okay. Okay.